I think out of all the instruments that we've tried out on the channel, the ones that I have the most fun with are drum machines and synthesizers. There's just something that I quite enjoy about them, and I like the fact that I'm able to produce a bit of a tune or a bit of a beat by the end of the video. I know it's hard to believe that I don't just produce absolute noise with every single instrument video we do, but sometimes we do actually get some good tunes, and it's always quite rewarding, but it doesn't happen all that often. So luckily for us today, we've been sent another synthesizer to check out on the channel, and it's quite an interesting one. So this right here is the Orba by Artiphon, and it's a gesture-based synthesizer, and if you couldn't tell by the size of the box, it's also bloody tiny. So you can use this thing as a standalone synthesizer. It's got an inbuilt speaker and it has a load of custom sounds already built into it. It also has a looping function, so you can create songs in seconds using the drum, bass, chord, and lead parts, or you can use it as a MIDI controller via Bluetooth or USB. So just judging by the box, it sounds like a pretty nifty piece of gear. Okay, even the size of the box didn't prepare me for how tiny this thing is. It's so small. It fits right in the palm of my hand. It's also super lightweight as well. It feels like a Bluetooth speaker, like a really cheap one that you'd get in something like Poundland. And that's not to say the build quality is bad, it just feels that light. Feels like there shouldn't be much in here, but it sounds like it really does a lot. And also in the box, we've got the quick start guide and a USB-C cable. Let's give this thing a quick test drive, and then I'm going to go ahead and charge this thing and also update the firmware via my PC, because I want this thing to be as up to date as possible so we get a full idea of what this thing is all about. So on the Orba, you've got 9 buttons on the front, and then on the side, you've got your audio output, you've got a USB-C, power, and then volume up and down. And then on the bottom, you've got your inbuilt speaker. On the right-hand side, you've got your 4 different modes. You've got drum, bass, chorus, and lead. And then on the left-hand side, you've got your play and pause button, you've got your record button, you've got BPM and octaves. And then you've got your function button in the middle that allows you to switch through the different modes. So yeah, it's quite a neat, simple, and compact setup we've got here. Okay, I think I get the gist of how this thing works. So let's go ahead, update the firmware, give it a bit of a charge, and then we can start using it with the app. Is there a way to like stop these things becoming like infested with fingerprints? I just can't get them off. So let's quickly go over some of the different ways that you can play this thing. Of course, you've got tapping, and this thing is also velocity sensitive. So depending how hard you hit it, you can get a softer or a louder note, or you can choke or sustain notes. So right now I've got the drum selected. So if I hit the bass drum, if I tap it, it kind of chokes the note. And then if I hold my finger down, it kind of sustains it for a little bit. And then if I hit the more hi-hat sounding sample, if I hold my finger down, it chokes it. Whereas if I hit it ever so slightly, it kind of drags it out a little bit. And then also when you're holding down a note, you can drag your finger to the middle to quieten the sound, and then you can drag it to the outside to make it louder. You can also tap the side of the Orba to make a different sound. And you can also modify the sound by tilting the Orba as well. So let's go ahead and try that out. So right now we've got the Orba app opened up, and right here you can see the lead, drum, bass, and chord, and that's basically just switching what's going on the Orba itself. So if you wanted to switch to the drums, you don't have to do it just via the Orba, you can also do it via the app if you want to. Okay, for some reason the app doesn't want to connect to the Orba. Okay, we're all connected with this iPad, so now if I hit bass, it should switch to bass on the Orba. Just very slowly, because this iPad's very old. Works fine. Now, from here, we can browse through the different preset sounds. Kind of unfortunately, they've only got 10 presets to choose from at the moment, but they are always adding more, so fingers crossed at some point we have a much bigger library of sounds to choose from. Oh. So I've gone through all the presets and I've selected the ones that I like, and it's a pretty painless procedure. All you need to do is pick the mode that you want to change. So if I want to change bass, select bass and then pick from the presets. But it does take quite a while for those sounds to load onto the Orba, and I don't know if that's just because I have a very old iPad, but either way, that's all behind us. We're ready to go and try and make some beats with this thing. It seems like the Orba just completely reset itself halfway through a song. That's a bit of a bugger. I checked 10 minutes ago and it was on full battery, so it's definitely not that. So obviously something just went wrong, felt the need to reset, and I've lost my song. So got to start from step one again. Wasn't really what I intended, but it is what it is. After spending quite a bit of time with the Orba, I've got to say I'm quite liking this little device. The amount of functions that they've managed to put into this is very impressive. I like the way that you can use the different gestures to manipulate the sounds. I like that all the buttons are touch sensitive, so it doesn't make any noise while you're playing it. You can play this thing at a library, during a wedding, or at a court case, you know, places where you're not meant to be talking and no one's going to bat an eye. The build quality is also very good. It feels very sturdy. You can hit it, you can bump it around, and you're not going to damage it. And not only can it be used as a standalone synthesizer or connected up to GarageBand, it can also be used with your preferred DAW software on Mac or PC. So really, for such a tiny device, you can do quite a lot with it. I will say, if you're looking to get this thing as a standalone synthesizer, currently the presets that they have on the app are a bit dull. There's not much to choose from, and there's only so much you could do with them. But hopefully as time goes on, they do add more samples, so it gives us more of a varied library of sounds to work with. But until then, I would suggest that you use the Orba with something like GarageBand, just so you can open up what you can do with this instrument. But yeah, overall, I'm very much enjoying my time with the Orba at the moment. It's nice to have an instrument that I can just sit on my desk, it doesn't look out of place, and when I fancy making a beat, I can just pick it up, make a beat, and get on with my day. It's lovely. And I think I might at some point put the loops that I've made with the Orba up on Patreon, just to share them and see what people think. So if you want to check those out, check out the link in the description to our Patreon page. Maybe you'll see those in the future. And with that, I think that's going to be it for another edition of Looted. Shout out to Keegan McAdams, Natasha Savage, Pikafu, Luna, George Acock, Luke Rees, and Chance McTyre on Patreon. Thank you very much for your support. And if you like this video, hit like. If you like all our videos, hit subscribe. We've got more videos on the way. If you want to support the channel further, check out the link in the description to our Patreon page, where we are now uploading monthly exclusive content. Join us on our Discord server, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.